Okay, good morning, YouTube. It's time to talk to the camera, get used to talking to the camera. So, what are we going to talk about? I'll tell you what day it is. It's Tuesday, October 6th, and it's 7:45 in the morning, and I'm going to talk to you for about 5 minutes. I got a timer set, and we're just going to say whatever we can think of to say for 5 minutes because we just want to get used to talking to the camera. So, what's the topic for today? Let's see. Well, how about the existence of God? That sounds like something that's pretty easy and brief and won't take a lot of time. So, the existence of God. Well, I'm most influenced by a book by a philosopher named Alfred Adler. Alfred Adler, or is it Mortimer Adler? Mortimer Adler, University of Chicago, and unfortunately passed away. And he's a conservative. I don't usually agree with conservatives, but he wrote a book called How to Think About God. And basically, he goes through all the different philosophical claims for why God exists, such as St. Anselm's claim that God is that of which no greater being can be conceived. And so, if a being that can be conceived is the greatest, then it would have to be real, because a real being is greater than an imaginary being, such as the idea of having $100 is not as great as actually having $100. Unfortunately, this idea was disputed because there are a lot of things that can be thought of that don't actually have to be real, such as the square root of -1. I can think about it, but it doesn't really ever happen. And what he comes down to is that God is a theoretical construct. And so there is no absolute proof for any theoretical construct. So when it comes to theoretical constructs, you have to lower the bar of proof to, rather than being absolute beyond any reasonable doubt proof, it has to be by a preponderance of the evidence proof. And using that, he then reasons that because science demonstrates that this is one of many possible universes, that logic says in order for a possibility to become a reality, there has to be a cause. So that persuaded me to think that there is a cause, there is a creator, and the creator is most commonly referred to as God, but I tend to want to just stick with the word creator because in these days, 2020, ever since the moral majority, the term God has become too controversial and doesn't. So creator is a more neutral term. That there is some being, something outside the universe that caused the universe to come into existence. And Adler also points out that the creator, the God of philosophy, is not the God of Abraham. So establishing or believing that there is a creator doesn't necessarily say anything about the qualities or the nature of the creator. And I go off with that idea to say that most of the atheists that I know of point to some sort of imperfections as their reason for not believing in God or a creator. But I think that imperfect, and whether or not there is something outside the universe that caused the universe to exist, and whether or not that cause is perfect, that's a separate issue. So I come up with the idea that we live in an interdependent universe created by an imperfect and evolving creator. We live in an imperfect, evolving universe created and sustained by an imperfect and evolving creator. So that's how I handle the problem of theodicy, the problem of evil. Why do bad things happen? Bad things happen because God is changing over time. If you want to accept that the Bible is the inspired word of the Creator, then throughout the Old Testament, God, the Creator, is repeatedly making mistakes and expressing regret that he or she, see, the Creator is also a gender neutral term, so I think that's better than God, because we continually just can't keep away from the idea of claiming that God has a gender. Anyway, back to um, God, the Creator, being imperfect, and God, the Creator, being imperfect in the Old Testament, has rules for how people are supposed to treat the slaves. Well, we no longer think that slavery is moral or appropriate. And so the Creator's morality would have to be evolving over time as human beings' morality is also evolving over time. And what's the other one? God the Creator, how to treat the slaves, and God the Creator is repeatedly expressing regret and trying to destroy the world. Noah and the flood, Sodom and Gomorrah, and God the Creator has to be talked out of causing the world to end. So I think that bad things happen to good people, and the Creator is not perfect and also not omnipotent. The Creator is not in charge of everything that happens. The Creator is not omniscient, is not able to anticipate or predict or know the future because of free will, human beings and free will. So there's human caused evil and there's natural caused evil. In October of 2020, COVID. Hey, where's the purpose for that? I think it's an imperfection. It's a design defect. I want my money back. And let's see, what's the other one? And God the Creator. Oh, yeah, there's also a story about the Holocaust, and the Jews in the Holocaust put God on trial, and they found him guilty. And then afterwards, the rabbi said, now it's time for prayers. So accepting that there is a Creator, believing in a God who can be found guilty of creating or allowing to happen unspeakable horrors. And the Jews in that situation, in that story, decided to worship anyway. I've been thinking recently that this is an example of unconditional love for God. That unconditional love, unconditional positive regard is that feeling of, yeah, but we love you anyway. So God's not perfect. God makes bad things happen, or God allows bad things to happen, but God is evolving. And that's about as much as I have to say on that for right now. So although I haven't reached the end of the timer that I set, which was supposed to be 5 minutes, but apparently, I don't know. Oh gosh, look at that! The timer on the uh, on the monitor here says I've gone for 10 minutes. So I'm gonna hit the stop button, and we'll see what happens. We'll see how this looks.